Hi, I am here to talk to you about the commission lawsuit that everyone in the real estate community is talking about right now. It's definitely of interest given the amount of money that's on the table and how things could potentially change in July of this year for buyer's agents and real estate agents overall. However, here are some pointers that I think might happen that I would like to share. If sellers are encouraged not to pay buyer's agents out of their commission agreements, then first, buyers will be expected to pay their agent's commission. For many home buyers today, they are first-time home buyers or they are veteran buyers, the VA buyers. Both parties do not have much money to bring to the table, and in addition to not being able to pay their agent, among other things, so if they're not able to pay their agent, the second option is for a buyer to go directly to the listing agent to put in an offer on a property. Now, if a buyer does this, the listing agent will either represent both sides as a dual agent or the buyer will come unrepresented. If dual agent, the listing agent cannot exercise full fiduciary duties to both parties. If the buyer is unrepresented, then in my opinion, the listing agent should charge enough to where they can pay a buyer's agent. And here's why. So imagine this. Let's say that I'm the listing agent on a property and we have the property under contract with a buyer who is unrepresented. And they ask after a home inspection for me as the listing agent to help them with the repairs that they're going to request of you, the seller. Well, I can't give them any recommendations on which repairs from the 80-page home inspection, yes, 80 pages typically, I can't give them any recommendations on what repairs to request. So they ask me in their either educated or uneducated about repairs sense to write up the due diligence request, and it's 24 items long. Well, let's say that you and the seller and the buyer, cannot agree to terms based off of those 24 requests. The buyer backs out and you're back on the market. This is where buyer's agents really come into play, and they're critical because they can help, if they're an experienced agent, they can help their buyer understand what to ask for based on how much they want the home and what they think the seller might accept. So it's going to be extremely challenging if a buyer comes in unrepresented to a transaction and they don't know how to execute a real estate transaction properly. Many people think that real estate agents make too much money, but the average agent does about 2 transactions per year. Agents doing 10 to 15 plus transactions a year are the ones that you should hire, and you should agree, in my opinion, to pay a buyer's agent fee based on the examples that I just gave. For an agent to do 15 plus transactions a year, they're probably working 50 to 60 hours a week, and they've probably been in the industry for a long time. So they know what they're doing, and they are well worth what they make every year. That's another conversation. But units are relative. The number of homes sold in a year is relative to volume, which is the actual dollar amount sold. So I could sell 1 home a year, but it could be a $10 million home. I could sell 10 homes a year, each one being $100,000, and I could sell $1 million in volume a year. So it is relative. Maybe in some markets you might be able to reduce a commission percentage significantly and still make great money in that market. But I would ask myself as a seller, as this topic is coming to light, I would ask myself, do I really want to put myself in a position where things are going to get harder? A real estate transaction is already hard enough. If you have your listing agent acting as a dual agent, you're going to be limited in how they can represent you. If you have a buyer under contract who is unrepresented, your listing agent is going to be limited in how they can represent you. So I think that the 6% commission, could it be reduced a little bit? Yeah, maybe. commission is not fixed. It's an agreement between a firm and a seller. But in that listing agreement, you have always been agreeing, whether you know it or not, to pay a buyer's agent. And if you continue or you decide not to do that, then it could present some problems. So, it's my opinion, something to think about. Would love your comments.